Hi, Gareth Hollis again. Welcome back to Everything You Never Needed to Know About Me. And quick disclaimer: still waiting on depression and assault to come up. However, I've not got that many subjects left, so it's going to be pretty imminent now, I'd expect. So just a trigger warning on that. And expect randomness, expect tangents, expect repetition, and possibly a bad language, etc. So, random number generator is going to tell me the subject next is 41. No, it's not. Nor is it that. Oh, that. It's gone well. Oh yeah, 17. Sorry, I was crossing off the ones that I've already done, so it's just then I forgot to fast forward again, back through them. So 17. I did say 17. Yep, 17 is tattoos, piercings, and scars. I'll start with piercings because that'll be the quickest one. So I wanted to have my ear pierced to be like one of the cool kids, like right from being quite young. However, although my sisters had theirs ears pierced at a young age, I wasn't allowed mine done until I was 15. Actually, my dad, I did it in Leicester, but my dad used to actually do ear piercing as one of the many jobs he used to have. He bought himself an ear piercing kit, and he'd set up a stand on a Sunday, piercing ears before there was too many places doing it. And I remember he used to say he'd earn more money doing that on a Sunday than he used to earn for the other 6 days of the week combined. He used to go to markets and car boots and just be there. I think he had a little caravan or something, and he used to do ear piercing, and it obviously used to be quite lucrative for him. I think this is like in the early days of doing it with a gun rather than with a needle, but I can't remember now. So I finally was allowed my ear pierced when I was 15, which was just at the bottom there. And then when I moved to Horncastle, I can't remember exactly when it was, but I imagine it must have been when I was about 18. I had it done at the top as well, and I can't remember for what reason I had to take it out, and it healed over and end up getting it done again in a very close place. So having my ear pierced, that was actually when I said about moving schools and went to grammar school. That actually was a little bit different. So where I had been in Leicester, a lot of the boys had like their left ear pierced, and then when I went to grammar school, not that many boys did really. So that was kind of what it gave me, that sort of rebel appearance, even though I hadn't been a rebel. I mean, I had curtains at the time. Oh god, do you remember the 90s? Yes, I had big curtains, so like a big McDonald's thing going on in my hair. So luckily, this was the days before like camera phones and things, so there's not too many pictures of me as a youngster. Really, just as well. Oh god, especially like when I was 18 and moved to Torquay. My girlfriend's sister, who wanted to be a hairdresser. This was at the time of like Eminem sort of finding fame, and she bleached mine and my mate's hair, like bleached blonde. My mate had quite short hair, probably about a number 3 all over or something like that. I had these curtains, so his wasn't too bad, but me, God, it looked ridiculous. And like the first time I did it, it went orange as well. We really added to our attractiveness back then. God, yeah, the 90s. Oh, if you weren't in the 90s, you won't get this. So anyway, had my eyebrow pierced at school, and I used to deliberately not take I had my ear pierced at school. I used to deliberately not take it out. Used to regularly get in trouble for that because school policy at the grammar school was you weren't allowed your ear pierced. However, if you're a girl, you're allowed your ear pierced. So blatant sexism there. So I used to regularly get in trouble for that one. When I was, in fact, I don't know when it was. Thinking about it, it might have been when I was in Torquay. me and the same friend with the dodgy bleached hair, we both got our eyebrow pierced. So the left eyebrow back there, I've still got a scar from it now. Got it pierced. He had a straight bar in his, so gradually, sort of over time, it kind of, the rocking motion of it ended up wearing the skin away until it was held on by such a small piece of skin that it just fell out and healed over. Whereas me, I had a slightly curved bar, so mine was okay in that respect. I actually originally wanted a ring in it, but to start with, I had to have a bar, and actually, in retrospect, I preferred the bar. But unfortunately, I can't remember what job it was for, they said I had to take it out, and it ended up healing over. And then when I wasn't doing that job anymore, I assume it was something in the food industry. It might have even been McDonald's, actually. Anyway, when I wasn't doing that anymore, I got it pierced again. It was quite painful the first time round, but the second time, going through scar tissue, oh, yeah, that hurt. And then I joined the army and had to let it heal over again, unfortunately, which is disappointing. It's one of those things that when I leave, maybe I'll get it done again. Maybe I'll be just kind of too old by that point to pull it off. I feel like as pushing 40 now, I'm maybe bordering it on being too old for it now anyway. But oh yeah, and my nipple. Yeah, I had my nipple pierced as well. Left nipple. I don't know what it is about the left-hand side. Certainly with the ears, like when I was growing up, if unless you're homosexual, then you didn't get the right ear pierced. The rules seem to have changed now. I've seen lots of guys with both ears pierced, which to me it just looks a bit feminine, but it's what you're brought up with, I suppose. But like certainly my dad, like when he was pierced, used to do ear piercing. That's how I knew, is that he told me that you'd get, if you're homosexual, you'd get the right ear pierced. If you were straight, you'd get the left ear pierced, and that was a way of like identifying like potential partners and things, I suppose. If they've got the right ear pierced, then there's a good chance, like as another guy, that they're going to be homosexual, and therefore you might have a chance. I kind of think that's how it worked. I could be wrong on that. I might be talking complete crap, but that's the way I understood it. Anyway, so I had my nipple pierced as well. This was 2009-ish, I reckon, 2008, 2009. It's when I was living in Germany. I know I certainly had it pierced when I went to Afghanistan. And I know I definitely had it pierced when I got back from Afghanistan and had a baby daughter to contend with, and holding this, who's now an 11-year-old, but at the time my oldest and my only child at the time, holding like that, and her little feet would be kicking, and the amount of time, it just never really got to heal properly because it was constantly be pulled and going manky and stuff, so I ended up just taking it out in the end. So the next one then, let's go tattoos. So when I was living in Hull, in fact, no, I don't think I wasn't even living in Hull at the time, but I went up to see this friend, and he got a tattoo. I can't remember what it was now. It's something he's not particularly proud of now, though, I think. And I ended up getting that one, that flaming skull, not because it meant anything to me, primarily because it was all I could afford. I remember that one was £25. And I felt so cool having a tattoo, even though now it's like I've got a few tattoos. That's the only one I regret, not because I don't like it, just because I think that that's kind of like prime real estate on your arm, and I wasted it on something that isn't really that special or anything. And now when eventually I'd like a sleeve doing, and I'm going to have to try and get something that covers it up rather than being able to go for something that I potentially would have maybe liked more. The next one I got was that one, which is a panther, and that's one that generally people seem to quite like. That one I seem to remember was about £40. That was done at the same place that did the first one in Hull. After that, I got one on the back of my neck, sort of across there, that says "Made in Leicester." That was done, I think, when I was living in Horncastle, but it might have been when I was living in Hull. I just feeling like better than everyone else, and wanted to not be seen as a local, I suppose. I think it was about after that I then had, I'm trying to think, order I've got the tattoos in now. Yeah, so after that, I think the next one would have been having just watched Triple X, Vin Diesel. If you're into James Bond and stuff, to me, Triple X is so much better. It's just, I think James Bond's a bit samey, personally. Probably going to get shot down for that one, I imagine. Unpopular opinion. But in Triple X, I don't think he's got any tattoos, apart from he's got these like sun star things like around his nipples. And I like that. And knowing that I was planning on joining the army, I thought I'm going to be ripped and muscular and stuff. I thought, yeah, I could pull that off. And I got those done. I've been teased about that a few times in the past, but I don't care about getting... Like people can mock me all they want for things that are my choice. I don't care about that. I suppose the only time it becomes bullying for me is like if they're going on about my teeth, just because that rings true with being like when I was younger and being bullied and teased and stuff about that. Anything else is fair game, especially if it's something I've done to myself, like tattoos. Then yeah, make fun of that as much as you want, I suppose. That was my personal choice, and I stand by it. Well, it's a tattoo. I've got no choice really. There's one of the warnings about tattoos that say they're for life, and my reasoning for that was it's good value for money then, really. But still expensive, unfortunately. After that, I think the next tattoo I got was on my left shoulder. On the back of my shoulder, I've got another flaming skull, but this one actually does mean something to me. It's from the album cover for The Offspring's Greatest Hits album. It's their flaming skull that you see in like Conspiracy One and things like that. And I got that one done just before I went to see them down at Brixton Carling Academy in London. Well, I say just before, long enough that I think it had just about healed by the time I went down there. After that, me and my wife kind of got matching-ish tattoos. So I've got one on that shoulder, which is the Volkswagen bubble head guy. I don't know what you call it really, like the one that's on the old style VW servicing signs anyway. At the time we were both quite into the VW scene. I mean, I still am to a certain extent. I've still got my camper van, and I would love another Beetle at some point, but at the time I had a Beetle, and I think my wife had either a Golf or a Passat, or she might have even had a Beetle herself, actually. I can't remember now. So I got the VW bobblehead guy on my shoulder, and she got the girl, a slightly smaller one, sort of on her wrist about there. After that one, I'd say the next one I got would have been the getting my daughter's, my firstborn's name across my arm. And then that is in Porsche script. So like on the back of the Porsche 911 Turbo, for example, where it says Porsche, I've gone for the same fonts on that one. And then when my second daughter was born, I went for a similar idea, and that is designed like the Carmen Gear badge. Someone on one of the VW forums almost like photoshopped it for me and made a Carmen Gear badge, so it said my daughter's first and middle name on there. And at some point I would like my other daughter, my eldest daughter's middle name on that arm as well, but I haven't quite worked out how to do it yet, and also obviously money. And then the last tattoos I got 4 done all at the same time, almost like a sleeve but for my leg. And I've got on my right leg, starting from the bottom is, I say starting from the bottom, actually I've completely forgotten what order they're in. It shows how often I look at my legs. So I've got the Union 76 logo, I've got the Moon Eyes logo, I've got the Ratfink logo, and the Claysmith logo. So these are all like brands that are synonymous with the VW community and with hot rods and like vintage racing, that sort of thing. And my idea behind it was like on the old style cars, and you have logos and things on the doors. and I wanted that like on my leg. Strange like now, but they're the only tattoos I've got actually that have got colour on. They're all full colour, whereas the only other one I've got with any colour is the panther, which's got the just got the tongue coloured in. In time, I would like, if money permitting, I would like a full sleeve, like going right from about sort of about there on my hand, right the way up to like probably just below my ear, and just made up of lots of different things, like almost like a tribal design base layer, and then like sticker bombing around it of just random things I like. For example, on one of the other episodes, I had a Wild Stallions t-shirt, Wild Stallions being the band from the Bill and Ted movies. So just things like that logo on there, and trying to think, I've got a list of things. Oh no, I haven't anymore because my laptop died. I've probably lost that now. So I was making ideas of like all different logos and things I'd like incorporated into it, so that it's actually something that means something to me. And then I also wanted a nice big one that took up most of my back, inspired by Ready Player One. To me, my favourite book of all time. To me, the best book of all time, and an okay film. And I was thinking something along the lines of like a Pac-Man design, with all the ghosts and the dots and the cherries and all that, and then a big Ready Player One logo across the top of it as like a homage to me, the best book of all time. Ernest Cline, if you're watching, thank you. Provided me many hours of entertainment, especially since my memory is so bad that I've read that book so many times and enjoy it just as much every time, even though I know exactly what's going to happen. Deviating again, sorry, keep going off on these tangents. So right, managed to cover the tattoos. So scars then. Got a few scars. From what I've been told, chicks dig scars. I don't know if that's true or not. It certainly hasn't seemed to be so true in my case. But so the earliest one I've got that I'm aware of is on my thumb. Probably can't see it. I doubt you can see it. But I've got a scar that goes down and across on my thumb, and this is from when I was about 4 years old. So my parents, they wouldn't eat like a massive amount of food. I know my dad said he was a size 30 waist, well 30-inch waist until he was 30, which is something I've definitely not managed to stick to. He's making up for it now though. But yeah, he's driving a lorry for a living. He spends a lot of his time sat down. But anyway, so they had leftover food most days that went into the fridge for a later date. And on this particular occasion, I'd, as a toddler, gone into the fridge knowing there was food in there, and I'd put my hand in a baked bean tin, which still had the lid on, and then my thumb got jammed in, like trying to get my thumb out again. And I remember from what my dad said, they couldn't get it, they couldn't go down, they had to come up, like trying to get my thumb upwards. So I imagine they must have bent the lid or something, but it left quite a deep gash in there in the end, so I've still got a scar from that. Next one from memory is across the bottom of my chin, which obviously you're not going to see at the moment because we're in isolation. Therefore, for the first time in a long time, I can actually grow a beard because I'm not allowed to grow a beard for work. So the one on my chin, at the time I did my chin and I fractured my wrist. So if you're of a similar sort of generation to me, you maybe remember they used to get in, I think, crisp packets, or it might have been cereal boxes. These clicky things that went around the A-frame of your bike, and then it clicked on all your spokes as you were cycling. So it gave a sort of noise to it, almost a bit like a motorbike. But well, that's how I remember it. But I can't imagine it did sound much like a motorbike. Anyway, I had one of those on my BMX, or probably a cheaper equivalent of a BMX, and I'd cycled up to the top of the hill in my village, because our village was basically built on a hill, not an overly steep hill, but certainly steep enough. Cycled up there, And then I cycled down the hill, trying to go as fast as I could, like before I got to where it plateaued, which was about where my house was. And as I was going down here, I thought, all right, let's engage the thing on the on the pegs thing. Oh, I forgot the name of it now. On the forks. Let's engage that. So I did it with my foot, just angled it in to get it to touch the spokes. And as I did that, I caught my shoe in the spokes. So as you can imagine, the front wheel suddenly stopped. I went straight over the handlebars and took out a sizable chunk of my chin with the tarmac. Pretty much outside my school. Well, it would have been my old school by that point, the primary school. And I had to then get taken to hospital. My grandma actually took me to hospital because it was the day that my dad and my stepmom were actually going on holiday. I think they were going to Greece. It might have been, no, it wouldn't have been a honeymoon, but it was, I don't know, it was a holiday anyway. So my grandma ended up having to take me to hospital, and I ended up with my arm in a cast where I'd fractured it, and then my 6 stitches in my chin. Other scars then. At the moment, I've got a scar on my, I think it's that eyebrow. You can probably see where there's some of the hair, some of the eyebrow hair missing. That was a recent accident during lockdown, where I said previously I like restoring, renovating old toy cars, like dinky toys. I had some dinky toys in a tub. I put in some boiling water in it, and then I was putting in some caustic soda, which is a good way of stripping paint off cars. In fact, in this occasion, they weren't in a tub. They were in like a spaghetti jar. And as I was putting in the caustic soda straight out of the bottle, which certainly don't recommend, a big clump fell in all at once that had been stuck together. Suddenly, all this boiling chemical water shot out like a volcano straight out the top of the spaghetti jar. And I got quite a bit on my hands and my face. I've still got like burn marks on my hands, and I got quite lucky really that I didn't damage my eyes, and I've gone a bit patchy sort of in my beard area and then on my eyebrow, but quite lucky with that really. It wasn't a lot worse. So just proves that no matter how many mistakes you make when you're young, you'll probably still do stupid things when you're older as well. Got one across my forehead. I think it's sort of around there. It might be around there. I've forgotten now. You can only see it in certain lights. That was from when I was in Germany. And I went running around where I used to work. So it's about a 4-mile perimeter fence. And I typically do a couple of laps of that each day at the time. And I went by, I was a duty officer at the time, had to go do a weapons check. So I went really early because I think it was a Saturday morning. I didn't want to be like out too long. So I drove to Mönchengladbach, checked all the weapons, and then I went for a run around the airfield. And at that time in the morning, and it was mating season, as I found out, for the buzzards. And what I didn't know was that certain people, typically people who didn't have a lot of hair, which is discouraging because I feel like I've still got a fair bit of hair, although it's nowhere near as much as it used to be before I got married, but that's marriage for you, I suppose. I'm blaming marriage and kids rather than age or hereditary genes, by the way. Definitely not my fault that I'm losing my hair. So I was running around the airfield, and what had been happening was that these buzzards were thinking that people were going off with their eggs. I say certainly bold people, but I got attacked. This bird out of nowhere just suddenly felt its talons in my head, and I thought nothing of it at the time. I'd already probably done about 6 miles by that point, so I was quite sweaty. It was the summer as well. It was only then when I got back to my start point, which was where the guard hut was, that they said I was bleeding really badly, because I just thought it was sweat. Anyway, that's scarred for a bit. So lesson learned there: angry birds, not as good in real life. Next one, knees. That's a boring one actually. I've had an operation on my right knee where they've took out a pleat and torn cartilage, and on the left knee I had 2 operations where they took out torn cartilage. So scars on my knees. That was a bit boring. And then last one worth mentioning, I suppose, is on the back of my head, sort of across there. Every time I get my haircut, you can see it, but for the rest of the time, it's not too bad. It's only when I get my haircut really short, which it definitely isn't now because I've been in isolation for 8 weeks or 9 weeks. So my hair's a mess at the moment. It's getting far too long. I'm lucky that I had it cut maybe a week or two before isolation, otherwise it'd be really bad. So the one on the back of my head, that was when I was about 21-ish. I was driving my Volvo. I'd just gone to pick up some suspension springs for my Fiat Panda, which was off the road at that point because the engine had broke. And I was driving back, and after an accident where I was overtaking, and the person in front of me decided he was going to turn right as I was coming past him, and I had to swerve to avoid him and then started fishtailing. I put the car in a ditch upside down, and one of my speakers came off the parcel shelf. Yeah, it tore through the parcel shelf and it went through the windscreen, and on the way through it hit my head and left a nice scar there. I also had a scar on my hand from it as well, where where my watch had ripped off. I never found that watch either. Probably in the ditch somewhere still. Yeah, so I say it's not too bad, and like from that crash, actually, it could have been a lot worse. My dad certainly said that he'd seen crashes nowhere near as bad as that where people had died, and I expected to die. I closed my eyes thinking I don't want to see this, as I knew I was going off the road at that sort of speed. I was certainly doing 60. I might have even been doing more than 60. It wouldn't have surprised me since I was overtaking. So in that respect, yeah, quite lucky. And the only thing that really survived on the car was the wheels, because it landed on its roof. So I thought I'll keep the wheels, but then someone nicked them. Unfortunately, I'd got some Mazda alloys on there. And more annoyingly, I'd only put the car up for sale that morning because my Panda was about fixed. In fact, no, it was fixed. I'd get either getting it back or just got it back from the garage. And so I'd put the the Volvo up for sale that morning and then completely wrote it off. And I was only insured third party as well. So that's more money gone. All right, and yeah, these videos really aren't going for the whole 15-20 minute feel, I'm afraid. I thought that was going to be a nice shortish one talking about that. Best get on to the next subject. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're finding this interesting and you want to see how this progresses. If you want to see if I actually do manage to make it in the music industry. Fingers crossed, but it's not an easy industry to get into. So I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a lovely day.